morning or good afternoon.
Horizons Senior Pastors Update. Dave, Judith. The mug for this time is the East Leek Millennium mug, Parish of St Mary's, and on it has got the Baptist Church that my mum and dad attended, and my dad was actually in leadership there for a bit in an interim between ministers, so that's really good. Reminds me, even though he's passed, and hearing the tributes to him, what an impact he made in his life, in his ministry, whether it be youth leader, or a minister of the church, or just being involved in church. So, yeah, East Leek. There you go.
For those of you who don't know where East Leek is, it's to the east of West Leek. But it's
in the Midlands.
It's in the Midlands.
Hey for the Midlands.
Nottinghamshire.
Yeah.
Little village up there.
Anyway, welcome to this week's Senior Pastors Update. Just to say we had a great time on Sunday, just gone, meeting for the first time ever at church but outside. The rain did hold off, which is great. Mark and Steve did a brilliant job with playing a couple of worship songs we did not sing. So we're going to build on that this week. Apologies for those who did tune in to my attempt to record it at Facebook. It did record it, but my phone was near the front row, so I could turn it on and off. And so during the sermon particularly, you probably heard more of Marla eating crisps and Taylor gurgling and making happy noises as a 6-month-old does. So we thank you, Jeff. We will reposition it hopefully somewhere nearer a speaker so it will pick up that as the first sound and not my grandchildren.
Good constructive feedback,
it was good.
Learning curve.
Yeah, it was good to see each other. But I must say, sitting those distance in the outside, not being able to sing was a little bit weird. But it was good. And as we keep telling you, we are looking at the guidelines. We are looking at how we can do church a little bit more normal within those guidelines. So do pray for us and pray for the weather this Sunday, because we aim to repeat the outside experience again. So that will be good.
Our strapline is as much as we can, as soon as we can.
And just as a little teaser, on Sunday we will be reporting an answer to prayer from Bob and Elaine, which is absolutely phenomenal. We have prayed about what this is about before, and we're going to share with you what that is on Sunday, the phenomenal answer to prayer. So, see you Sunday. Well, I'm just going to have a bit of the coffee while...
It's me now, is it?
He does his
Okay.
He does his bit.
Yeah, just a thought really, because on the back of being together on Sunday, I thought it was great to do that. There's lots that we can't do, but when we gather together in his name, he's there, and there's a lot he can do. I'm going to read to you from Acts chapter 4. The early church, after Jesus had sent the Holy Spirit and had ascended into heaven, they were totally out of control. They were controlled, but they were out of control as far as the world was concerned, because they had a powerful, wonderful message that they would not shut up about. They were excited about the risen Jesus. And Peter and John, two of the apostles, went out to preach. And it didn't really, it didn't impress everybody, mainly the kind of powers that were. The priests and the captain of the temple guard, it says. It says this in Acts chapter 4. The priests and the captain of the temple guard and the Sadducees came up to Peter and John while they were speaking to the people. They were greatly disturbed because the apostles were teaching the people and proclaiming in Jesus the resurrection of the dead. They seized Peter and John, and because it was evening, they put them in jail until the next day. But many who heard the message believed, and a number of men grew to about 5,000. That's 5,000 believers.
Bet they had to meet outside.
Yeah, they had to meet outside. Socially distanced, of course. With hand sanitizer. Peter and John preached about Jesus. Isn't it amazing that they had such a powerful effect? It's great message. But then they were put into lockdown. They were put in jail for the night.
true.
And over in verse 23 of that same chapter, having been interrogated and slapped on the wrists and told they were very naughty boys, they were let go. And it says, on their release, Peter and John went back to their own people, reported all that the chief priests and elders had said to them. Judith already said it was great to see those of you who were able to get there on Sunday. It is odd, and as we've said, we're planning to do it again, but just to actually sit down and be with people that we haven't seen or even spoken to. Some people it's quite difficult, or at best we've seen on a screen like this. It was really, really valuable. And as I say, we're going to go again on Sunday while the weather allows, and see what happens when the weather doesn't allow. Okay, but yeah, they went back to their own people. I heard on the radio this morning. This is Wednesday, by the way. I heard on the radio this morning. Some sociologist type person was talking about the COVID effect. And they were speaking about the fact that relationships that are a bit kind of shallow, don't have a depth, relationships will suffer after a period of no contact. So I guess, people who see people in passing, they've got friends at the school gate, or people that they might see in passing, after a lack of contact, those relationships get strained and will kind of die out. Restricted time with each other. And do you know what? That's a real concern, because the church is made up of all sorts of different people. Many of us, many of you, are really at the centre of things. But we have to remember those that this isn't a criticism. People are sometimes on the edge of things, and they're just as important as anybody else. And that's for various reasons. But I just want to sort of put that word of encouragement and perhaps a bit of a challenge out. Let's build upon the relationships that we have. Because Peter and John had a default setting. Mm-hmm. On their release, they went down the pub. No, they went down the pub. They didn't. They went to their own. They didn't go to their own homes. They didn't even go there, no. Or even have a round of golf. It says they went back to their own people, the other disciples, the other followers of Jesus. And, I was talking to a lady the other day, and I was saying, hey, before the weekend, I was saying, hey, we've got our first get together on Sunday. It's going to be outside in the church, and I'm really quite excited about it. I don't know who's going to be there. It's a bit of string. How long is it going to be? How many people are going to be there? And she said, well, no, you never know, she said, things like that, because, people are funny about their hobbies and how committed they get to. Oh, how dare you talk about church as a hobby? It's not a hobby. Jesus didn't die for us to engage in a hobby. He died for us to follow him and to be committed to one another. And that's why I get excited when we meet together. Our church fellowship, the church's fellowship, and the being together is designed really to be the centre of our lives. And the contact and the encouragement and the building up that we do and the blessing it is when we make the effort to be there is beyond words. Story I've told many times about a guy years and years ago. His name was Mr. Weatherly, lived over in Caterham but went to a church in Croydon. And there was a Bible study or a prayer meeting one horrible night in January when there was ice on the road. He lived in Caterham on the hill, and it was icy up there, and it's a fair run into Croydon. And he was warmed by the fire, and he felt he ought to go to this meeting, but no, he had his slippers on, for goodness sake. Do you know what? He got up, he took his slippers off, put his shoes and coat on, got into his icy car, drove all the way to the meeting in Croydon, and he said, God spoke to me that night in that fellowship situation in a way that I needed to hear. And that was so great. His default setting was to be with his own people. And that's why I get excited about church, because their default setting here was to be with their own people. It's a model set by Jesus, who called the disciples to come together to be with Him, and that's what we're going to do this Sunday. So let's not allow our relationships together to get kind of a bit distant. Let's restore them. Let's build them, and because you are important, you are needed, you're wanted, you're loved. Every single one of us have a part to play, and on top of that, it's good to get together. It's fun, and it's enjoyable. So let's value the fellowship, value what God has given us with Him and together. I hope you have a great week. There'll be email talking about Sunday coming out as well, so we'll keep an eye.
And I know some of you recognise it's important to get together, but because of COVID and the fact that you are isolating for very good medical reasons and things, there is no pressure to do that. You only do what you're comfortable with, and if you are on Facebook, then we will attempt to go live again on Facebook. So you can keep in touch that way. If you're on Zoom and you really can't get in and you haven't got Facebook, just if you can't get there
for whatever reason,
drop us a line and we will endeavour to do whatever technologically processes we have to do to try and get you involved. Let's. So, but don't feel guilty about if you can't come or whatever.
That is a word of encouragement, not
to those that can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know that some people, you've got family situations where it's difficult. All the rest of it, we know all that, but that's fine.
Yeah, and some people have children, and they aren't allowed to go out of where your 2 metre seating area is. And that might be difficult for some of you because your kids will want to be up and active and they're not allowed to use any of the play stuff and things. So we understand all of that, but for those that can, we encourage you to gather together with your own people, and those that can't, link in some way. And if you're finding that difficult, please get in touch, because we don't know and we want to know.
Yeah, great.
Family, Horizon family.
Yeah. And it was short last week. I think the whole thing was over within.
I'm speaking this week, so it's bound to be short.
Three quarters of an hour, I think, and then we have to throw everybody out straight away. We can't hang around.
He said at the end, well, go on, what did you say? Get lost, did you say?
No, I didn't say
or
get
go
lost.
Home or something, he said.
No, go on, get out, go on.
Get out, yeah, that's nice, wasn't it? But yeah, we have to go off from the premises, not hanging around the gate and stuff, people chatting. Yeah. It's a bit difficult, but still, I'm sure that the people that came will tell you that they were able to communicate with others, nice to see people, chat from a distance or whatever. So it was profitable. So if you can be there, be there.
Yes, I don't give words that tell off. I just encourage.
I think we'll end it there.
Yes.
Have a good week.
Bless your hearts. See you soon.
Bye. Bye-bye.